Let's talk about distracted driving. A lot of folks out on the roads going to grandma's or going out shopping, but distracted driving is a big issue we're seeing out on the roads.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things we want to remind everybody about this time of year, and it's important year round, but especially in the holiday season, don't do your comparison shopping on your phone while you're driving between stores. Make sure that if you are going to use a mobile device in your phone or in your automobile, that you have it on a hands-free system so that you can talk. Texting is against the law in Alabama while you're driving, so you want to make sure that you follow the law in that regard, and it can be very hazardous. Distracted driving, their studies show that it is equal to or worse than being intoxicated behind the wheel of a vehicle, and so not only you can hurt someone else, it can also cost you a lot in terms of insurance and out-of-pocket expenses if you hurt someone.
With distracted driving, though, how do you prove that? If it's he said versus she said, wouldn't you say, when it comes to some cases?
Well, I mean, everything you do on a cell phone is tracked and it's also timed. So there's a lot of ways that we have experts that understand how the technology works. And basically, you can use the towers that you're in to triangulate the position of a vehicle at a certain time or whatever at a certain time when a car and when it's being used, and then you can figure out when the crash occurred and when the call ended, and a lot of times you can directly prove that somebody was on a phone talking or texting or receiving texts at the time or immediately prior to an accident.
All right, we do want to head over to the phone lines. We do have Annie on the line. Annie, go ahead with your question.
Did we lose Annie?
I think we just lost Annie.
I think we just lost Annie. Yep. Well, talking a little bit more about distracted driving, I know whenever we're traveling out of state, like Georgia, they have that hands-free law. Does that really change things when it comes to compared to Alabama law versus other state laws?
I think the laws have been shown to be beneficial. For whatever reason, just in practice, making something illegal tends to change behaviors, even if it's hard to enforce it in a situation. So, I think those laws are beneficial. We've put in place, texting and no texting laws in Alabama, and we like to think that it's helped people. There's also a lot of public campaigns, public service campaigns that deal with it to try to educate people about how dangerous it is if you're going to, text or use your phone, while operating a motor vehicle.
If you find yourself in a situation, and hopefully you don't find it, where you believe you're involved in something in distracted driving could be an issue, you guys can offer free advice if they are considering maybe needing an attorney moving forward with their issues.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We do, free initial consultations on these cases, and especially in this type of situation, if you think there's a distracted driver, if you think there's somebody using your phone, you need to act fast because that data may not be stored forever, and getting in touch with the cell phone carrier immediately is really, going to be important in your case.
So just to summarize, do not text and drive, and if you do, make sure, or if you have a scenario, don't do it. Just don't do it. I'm just saying, but if you are in a scenario where you believe, you can go ahead and reach out to them. We do have one caller on the line. Let's go ahead and head over to those phone lines. Larry, go ahead with your question.
I'm just curious, if in an accident, when somebody intentionally causes you to bump into them, see, the reason I bring that up is I drove a truck to Nashville every day for 20 years, and it was a daily thing just to keep from running over somebody because they trying to sue. And if I got evidence they intentionally caused me to hit them, can I sue them?
Obviously, if there's a contact between the vehicles, you look to who is at fault, and it would be whoever would be determined to be at fault. We've been involved in cases where both sides have sued each other, and then you really just look at the facts, the determination of who was at fault or if both people were at fault.
All right, well, if you didn't get your question answered, remember you can always call our friends over at Timberlake and Lee.